Hey, my name's Stephen Machuca, also known as the Wood Pastor, and I love coffee. But today, I'm not talking about coffee. I'm talking about cutting boards. I used to make a whole lot of cutting boards, and I would have people ask me how I refinish them or finish them from start to finish. Anyways, I put together a video that lets you know exactly the process I use, okay? Not claiming to be professional, this is what I use, and it does work.
I wanted to show how I finish boards from start to finish by showing a few end stages of the making of a cutting board. Here I'm planing the walnut and oak board smooth and level. I'll trim the ends off with the miter saw for a nice square rectangle. Kind of an oxymoron, but it makes sense. My planer puts a little bit of a snipe on the board, a divot or an indentation, towards the end of the pass, but it needs to be sanded smooth. That's what I'm doing here. Before you sand the board, use a damp rag to raise the grain. This allows you to have an extra smooth finish when you sand next, and those fibers won't raise up the first time you clean it. Different boards have different designs. This one I finished with the Roman OG router bit. It's pretty fancy. I'll clamp the board in place and route a finger groove on each side with a cove bit. This allows you to lift it easily off a countertop. This board weighs around 20 pounds as well. Next, I'll hand sand the entire board with a sanding sponge. I love these. It helps make sure I don't make any swirls that you can get from an electric sander. Finally, the finish. We get to the finish part. You're welcome. I'll coat the whole board with a food-safe mineral oil overnight. The oil gets into the board and helps resist any food or water later. But there's more to the process than just mineral oil. Obviously, I make sure it gets on every part of the board, top to bottom, front to back. I wear a sweet black glove. You're welcome. You don't have to wear black gloves. You don't have to wear gloves at all. Set it up overnight. The next day I'll buff it off with a clean rag or an old t-shirt. Give it another sanding with 400 grit sponge. After this, your board should feel like glass. If it doesn't feel like glass, throw it in the garbage, burn it, use it as kindling because you did something wrong. I'm just joking. And here's where my camera started to fall asleep as I was sanding it, tired of watching me. Finally, I use Howard's Butcher Block Conditioner. It's a mixture of mineral oil and beeswax. You can never over-treat your board. This just adds an extra layer of protection. And I'll buff it into the board and then I'll let it sit for at least 30 minutes. You can wait till the next time you use it, but I'll buff it off and it's ready to use. I personally recommend only cutting cooked meats, vegetables, or fruits on your board. There's a lot of other dry foods you could cut too. However, I do not recommend cutting raw meats because it can contaminate your board. Some people will use a mixture of bleach and water or run it through the dishwasher. I hate these ideas. They're just really stupid ideas. Just don't do it. I don't care what your friends say. Just don't do it. On a huge board like this, you can lay down a towel first before cleaning. Wipe everything off with a dry paper towel or two. The oil you applied before does most of the work resisting food, so it makes it easier to clean. You want to get some warm soapy water ready. I choose Blue Dawn, and yes, I did this in the garage. Grab a scrub sponge and a dry clean hand towel. You can probably figure out the rest, but just in case you can't, I filmed it for you. Scrub all the junk off. In this case, it's chicken. Wipe it dry. Once it's really good and dry, reapply your board oil as needed. I do it after each use. That's because I'm fancy. Honestly, don't even use the cutting boards I sell you. Just put them, up in a window or something, or on the countertop, and never use it. It's a display piece. It's wood art. Don't make the mistake of using it.
So that's how I finish my cutting boards, and then I also refinish them often to keep them food safe. If you use a different way or a different product, comment down below. Let me know what you think about the video, and thanks for watching.